what's up? Welcome to the Breakfast Club. This is the New Life Youth Podcast. My name is Kerry Lira. I am one of your hosts, and my co-host is
Hezekiah Gallegos.
Hezekiah Gallegos, man. And we just want to welcome you to the very, very first New Life Youth Podcast that we're calling the Breakfast Club. And if you're wondering why the Breakfast Club, is it because it's Sunday morning? No, it's absolutely not the reason why. The whole mindset behind the Breakfast Club, the reason why we call it the Breakfast Club, is because 10 years ago, we actually ventured out and started what was called a book club. Remember?
Yes, it was very, very early.
Yeah, we reached out. We started very, very early. So basically what happened was that summer, I had asked the teenagers. Hez was in the youth. He was just like you guys, sitting in youth. This is when we were meeting downstairs.
Yeah.
In the coffee shop now. That's when the youth was down there. And I had asked this question after a sermon. I said, hey, who wants to grow in their relationship with God this summer? I said, who wants to grow? And there was a room of about 30 kids, and I was thinking maybe 10, 12 were going to respond. One kid responded. And that one kid was Hezekiah Gallegos. And so afterwards, I came up to Hez and I said, hey, here's what we're going to do. We're gonna meet on Sunday mornings. And we're going to meet at 6 in the morning on Sundays.
I did not wake up at 6.
6 a.m. Some of y'all are like, on Sunday morning, the weekend? Nah, I'm cool. Like, no way. But yeah, 6 a.m. And what we did on every Sunday at 6 a.m., we were reading a book called Every Young Man, God's Man together, and we would read the Word together. And that was like our Breakfast Club moment. Like, we started that right then and there in 2012, the summer of 2012, literally 10 years ago. Fast forward over the next 2-3 years after 2012, that group grew at one point to like 30-something teenagers meeting together. And we were all waking up freaking early, man. Like, stupid early. Because we would meet at Market Street on 19th. And then when we outgrew that, no, we started at Starbucks. Yeah, we started at Starbucks
on University?
First. Yeah, started Starbucks on University by Tech. We outgrew that, then we moved to Market Street. Mm-hmm. And then after that, we went to J&B Coffee. And then after that, it was like, look, we just need to go somewhere. So we would come up here. With the last book we did, we came up here. So
it was early. Man, to be honest with you, bro, I was excited for the call, but I think I was more excited for the free coffee.
Yeah.
Because it was from Starbucks.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I was ready to try out the new menus and see what they had. Bro, I always remember at Starbucks, we always had that one table, that big table
dude.
that sat. It sat like, what was it, like 10 or 12 people?
Yep.
And it was our routine every Sunday, especially on the second and the third book. We started growing bigger.
Yeah.
So we needed a bigger table,
Yep.
obviously. And then everybody would come with their bags. Until one morning, some gentleman decided to take that table. It was one guy with like 3 books spread out and would not share that table with no one else.
He took up the whole dang table. It drove me crazy. That's so
Yes.
true, man. And it was so funny because that would happen on Sunday sometimes.
All the time.
It would drive me crazy. We'd walk in and you would see one dude sitting at this large table.
It's like he knew we were coming and he was doing it on purpose just to kick us out.
Yeah.
So then I think we migrated.
Yeah, that's when we went
Street.
from there to Market Street. But yeah, man, in that time, you know what's funny when I think about Starbucks is, you remember Desiree?
Yes.
Okay, so Desiree,
Desiree.
y'all don't know who Desiree is. I think Andres knows. I don't know if you know Teresa. But Desiree used to be a member of this youth group back in the day. And Desiree was the homie, man. Like, seriously, she would fight you if you were a dude. Like, she was that kind of homie. Like, for real. She didn't play no games, right?
She was.
You can always ask Aaron about her.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
I'm making sure he hears this, bro.
He'll tell you everything.
Shots fired. No, I'm just playing. No, man, but seriously, like, I'll never forget one time I took her to Starbucks with us. We were going to take her to Starbucks, and we were driving, like, we're going to go to Starbucks, and she was like, we can't go to Starbucks. And I was like, why can't we go to Starbucks? She was like, Starbucks is for, like, white people. And it was so funny, man, because I was like, no, it's not. I go to Starbucks all the time. And she was like, but you're like white, Carrie. See, you're like white, Carrie. Like, you're not like Hispanic. And I was like, come on. But it was like her first time going to Starbucks. Yeah. And I think that was one of the coolest things about the Breakfast Club back then was
that's funny.
You would expose kids to something they never seen before, right? And so, like, by the end of like a book, you had kids going into Starbucks like, yeah, I'll get a caramel macchiato tall with foam, light on the sugar, non-dairy milk. Like they were experts all of a sudden, and so it was so cool, man. But yeah, man, that's one of my favorite stores from Starbucks, along with your table store, man.
That's true.
Hey, man, real talk. What was one of your favorite things other than the free coffee? Because I remember there used to be a dude at Starbucks who worked there who would actually hook us up. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, I remember.
I don't remember his name, but he was such a cool guy.
I think his name was Derek.
You may be right.
I could be wrong.
I believe he was a Christian because like he would always hook us up, dude. Like, he always hooked us up. And as a matter of fact, when me and Pastor Chris would go throughout the week, like he would never charge us. I should have went there more often.
You should have.
No, but I didn't want to be like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't want to overdo
I'm coming
it,
for
right?
the free stuff.
But to let everyone know, we didn't just take the freebies. Like, we actually tipped large when he would do that.
Oh, we did?
Yes. We tipped. Like, we actually tipped, even though he wouldn't charge us. You know what I'm saying? But, man, I'm just curious, like, other than the coffee and all that sort of stuff, what was one of your favorite memories? Like, what was something that you honestly can say you took away from waking up, not just waking up in the morning, but, like, the discipline to actually read throughout the week? Because I don't know, like, if you were, like, when I was a teenager, I hated reading.
Yes.
I was never really a big reader. So being a teenager, having the discipline to read a book now, what was a challenging thing for you and something that you learned and grew from it?
Man, dude, definitely I would say the reading part. It's harder, especially, being a young teen, being in high school, being a freshman, you want to do everything, your friends are doing, your buddies are doing. Saturday comes, let's go play some pickup games, or let's go do this. But I knew Saturday would come. I had to make sure that my stuff was in order. I would have to make sure everything was lined up. The discipline that it taught me to force myself to read, because it's hard, man. It's so easy to get distracted.
Yeah, for
Obviously,
sure.
It's so much easier nowadays than what it was 10 years ago. 10 years ago, it was like, man, I want to go play basketball. I want to go play football. I had a girlfriend who had a car at the time, so it was like, let's go somewhere. So it was hard. The discipline that you have to, it's a choice. You have to you have to choose to do it because no one's gonna come and no one's gonna tell you, hey, you need to read.
Yeah.
Hey, you need to make sure you're reading. My parents, they were all for me doing it, but it wasn't something like they pushed me to do. It wasn't something that they were on top of me. They kept me accountable for it. It was just something that it's either you're hungry and you want to do it, or you're not hungry and you're gonna slack on it.
Yeah,
for me, I was hungry for it. I really wanted to see a change in my family. I wanted to see a change in my life.
That's good.
I wanted it.
Yeah.
So I had to become obsessed with it, and I had to choose to read. And then like you always said, man, leaders are readers.
Yep.
It is just it is what it is. They're readers. If you're not reading and learning constantly, you're not gonna grow.
Man.
Because you can sit there and read a book. My dad used to always tell me, there was one thing he always did instill in me: don't read the Bible like a book.
That's good. Yeah.
Because if you just read it like a book, if you read your book like it's just a regular book, like obviously it's a book.
Right.
But if you just read it and you're not actually meditating, if you're not actually dissecting it and trying to understand how does this apply to me or my life, or how can I apply it, you just read it. Like if it's homework and you're like, man, I'm just gonna hurry up and get this over with so I can just wing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the discipline that it taught me to actually do it. When that eventually, because it's hard to wake up at 6 in the morning.
Yeah,
man.
for sure, man.
Especially being young.
Especially on the weekends.
I want to sleep in on Sundays. Church doesn't start till 9.
Yeah.
I'm waking up at 8:30. You know,
especially because you live down the street.
I live literally down the street. I could walk,
top.
and it would take me 5 minutes.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
Yeah, you live real close here at the time.
So dude, church starts at 9. Back then, it was like I think it was 9, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, the first service was 9, so I'd be here at 8:30, maybe 8:45, pushing it.
And that's why we met so early. I remember.
Yeah.
Man, that's true though, because like I see today in teenagers, like one of the things I see today with teenagers, right, is that teenagers can be disciplined.
Yeah.
Right, they really can be. On the things, like you said, they choose to be disciplined to, right? And so, like, for teenagers today, like, we can be disciplined to brush our teeth.
Yeah.
We can be disciplined to take a shower, right? That's something that you got to get done every day. It's some sort of a discipline, right? You can be disciplined to eat every day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then six snacks throughout the day, right? If you're a teenager, because you got metabolism ridiculously fast. But whenever it comes to something like reading the Bible, all of a sudden it's like a challenge.
Yeah.
Right? It's a challenge. And so I think that's so good, man, that and I think one of the things that I believe, like if a teenager can learn to discipline themselves to get into God's word, man, it can be life changing.
Yeah.
Really, really can be. And you're a testimony to that, and so am I, man. And so, yeah, man. So youth days were pretty cool for you, weren't they?
They were fun.
Man, I remember. So for those of you who don't know, I actually came to this church when I was 15, and Pastor Sam Garza was the youth pastor. So he's the really tall pastor that you'll see out there. He's a really, really tall one. And he was a cool youth pastor, man. I ain't gonna lie. I had a lot of fun when I was in the youth here, and I'm pretty sure you did too, growing up here in this youth ministry.
So many crazy memories.
Okay.
Some we should have caught in cases for.
Dude. All right. What is one of your favorite crazy memories in the youth ministry?
Oh man, dude.
Shoot from the hip. Go for it.
Okay, I think one I can think of off the top of my head. We were having what is it? Wars.
The Nerf Wars?
No, not the Nerf Wars.
Oh, Tribal Wars.
Tribal Wars.
Oh, my God, dude. I thought we were going to get in well, we did end up getting in trouble.
We did get in trouble for that one, yes.
We did have to shut it down.
There was one. Okay, so for those of you who are just listening, I just want you to visualize it. We're in a room. We have 2 lines, okay?
I know where you're going.
And I worked for United, so I was able to get us some baskets.
The shopping carts.
Okay?
Yeah.
I got us 2 shopping carts. And yes, it's starting to click. For those of you who know, it might start clicking.
Y'all ever seen Jackass? Hold on,
we had one that was in the car, and the other one was pushing it. Well, I won't forget. The moment we took off, there was one young gentleman. He's a trooper. He's standing at the edge of the platform, and here comes somebody full force with the cart and just smashes into his back. I mean, smashes. The poor dude ate ground so sick.
Oh, dude, it was
he was such a trooper. He popped up and did cry, did he? But you know that poor kid was hurting, bro.
Oh, dude.
It was terrible. Didn't we hurt something? Didn't he have to go to the doctor?
Dude, so real talk. I saw it in slow-mo, right? I saw the shopping cart come around, and I saw it coming. I was like, oh my God, that kid's about to.
Were they blindfolded?
Yes. Remember,
that's why.
The person pushing the shopping cart was blindfolded.
Yes.
So it was like a relay. So we put someone in the cart, you go around, come back, remember, and you swapped out. And the person blindfolded came full force.
Full on.
Damn, nailed this kid in the back hard. And I saw it in slow-mo. I saw him just boom, boom. And my immediate thought was, oh my God, we're getting sued. Not, is he okay? Not, is he all right? We should check on him. I was like, oh my God, I'm never going to be able to be a pastor. Like, I'm going to get fired. The church is going to get sued. But dude, I'm thankful that his older brother was here. Because his older brother was like, come on, man, get up. Stop being a little sissy on us. He got it, was like, okay.
That poor dude. He was such a trooper. Yes, that's one right off the top of my head. That was brutal.
I thought you were going to share the time we had a lock-in and that kid fell asleep on the ping pong table and he...
I forgot about him.
You were sleeping right
I was asleep. I was under the table. I was under the table. Oh my God. You want to share that one?
Okay, so
go for it.
So here's the thing. We had a lock-in and Hez was sleeping under the ping pong table. So for those of you who are here right now, this room next door, if you're listening, you won't understand this. But this room next door used to be the game room back in the day. Okay, this room right here. And it was the hot box, we called it. It was like a freaking sauna.
It was like a sauna in there.
So you'd be in there sweating.
If you didn't walk out and lose 5 pounds, you weren't doing something wrong.
I said you would have kids that would come from this room to this room, like faces were red, people were sweating. It was crazy, right? But anyway, we had a lock-in, and the guys were sleeping in there, and the girls were sleeping in this room. Well, Hez is sleeping under the ping pong table. It's around 4:30 in the morning. The guys finally wind down and go to sleep. Hez is asleep under the ping pong table. Now, those of you who have ever seen a ping pong table, they're not the most sturdiest tables in the world.
Especially in the middle.
Right? Especially in the middle. They got very puny legs that hold the table up, and the table itself is very thin, right? It's got to be so the ball can bounce over back and forth numerous times. This young man, who he was young, but he wasn't little, if you catch my drift. He was a pretty big young man, if you get what I'm saying. You know? And he decided at 4:30 in the morning that he was going to sleep on the ping pong table. Exactly. You know where I'm going with it. He hops up on the ping pong table, and he's on there for maybe a minute or two. And I love the way Jesus just describes because he said all he heard was the kid fell through the ping pong table and broke the ping pong table.
Broke the table.
Broke the table. For a while, we had that piece that was broken, and we wanted to hang it up as a shrine, like. Do not sleep on the ping pong table. Don't be standing up. This is what happens.
Dude,
I think we threw it away finally. We should have kept it, man.
I think my first reaction, because anybody who's like knocked out and, just jumping into their REM sleep and then, boom!
Yeah.
I just immediately woke up and my first question was, what are you doing, bro? Like, what are you doing?
Like, seriously.
Like, you know you couldn't sleep on this table.
And didn't he just stay there?
Yeah.
He just stayed there. He didn't even move. He just fell like asleep.
Like, that poor dude, I think he was hallucinating. You know, whenever you get to that point to where you're just like very sleepy, you're like, I don't know what's going on. You're a little loopy. And he was like, this looks like a good spot. And like, Walk 4 became the new spot. And he just stayed there.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, that was funny.
That was a good one, man. Those two moments, man. I legit thought we were going to get sued on the first one. Yes. And then the second one is just too funny not to share, man. We had a lot of crazy moments up here, dude.
Yeah, we did. We'll have to get Aaron up here one day so we can share his outside story.
Yeah. Oh yeah, at the park.
Yeah, we're gonna leave you on suspense.
That's a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
We had a youth night at the park one night on Wednesday night. Mm-hmm. Have you noticed? Have we ever had a youth night at a park since you've been up here? There's a reason why.
We'll let Aaron explain why.
It's a cliffhanger, but we'll leave you with this. It revolves Aaron and a girl. And another girl. So, yeah, it was an interesting night that night. So that's why we've never done anything at the park since then. Yeah, everything has to be done local.
That was the first time we got in trouble.
That was a cool night, though.
That was very
It started out cool, but it ended really, really bad, man. But yeah, teenage youth ministry, man. It has its fun moments. It has its crazy moments.
What would you say was one of your craziest memories?
Dude, so a lot of the crazy stuff that we did.
I know you go way back, so you have to give me one.
So I'll keep it with us, right? So one of my favorite things we used to do back in the day, was you guys had a lot more freedom with your parents, unlike the youth today, right? So like, for example, like after church on Wednesdays, we'd be like, hey, we're gonna go to Starbucks or we're gonna go get ice cream, whatever, and we could go, right? Parents would be like, yeah, cool, just make sure you bring them home. Right? Mm-hmm. Do you remember that night? I think it was in July. We all went to the Starbucks when it was the one by Tech. Yeah. Before it moved where it's at now. It was over. You remember that night at Tech? We were wilding out. We were wilding out at that Starbucks. Were you with us that night?
The one with the statues?
Yes.
No, it wasn't.
Oh, dude. Okay, so
unfortunately.
So here's the thing, man. There's pictures too of this. That's what's so funny. There's pictures and videos of this. So that night we had. So I'm gonna send this to him because I hope he hears it. So I don't know if any of y'all knew who Isaiah was. Youth ministry legend up here, man. He is a legend up here. You want to talk about one of the craziest kids in youth ministry?
Yes, agreed.
That dude was crazy. Well, Isaiah was like 12 years old, turning 21. Like he was so mature and grown for his age, right? Like he was just an OG at a young age. But like every time we took Isaiah somewhere, you knew something crazy was gonna go down. Right? Like seriously, you mix him with Andrew together, something crazy is definitely going down. Well, that night we got into this weird habit of twerking. Everybody here knows what twerking is. Look, and he's like, what? But seriously, so imagine it's 9:30 at night at Starbucks. We're sitting outside. There's a group of about 15 of us, and all of a sudden, we all start, like me, Andrew, Isaiah, we all just start randomly twerking in front of Starbucks on University, and we got cars driving by, we got students walking by, and there's people inside Starbucks just looking at us like, what are these kids doing? Like,
and granted, we just came from church.
Yeah, we just got out of church, by the way.
We're filled with the Spirit.
Yeah, I just got through ministering a powerful message on purity. And I'm out there twerking. So check this out. So I don't know if y'all walked that area where there's statues.
It's on Broadway.
There's two statues. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, there's two statues. It's of an old man and an old woman. They're holding hands. All right. so we walk out into the street, and like I said, there's cars driving by. There's people walking by, and of course Starbucks is right there. Me, Andrew, and Hez. I literally, Hez, I'm sorry, not Hez. Isaiah, Andrew, and me. Andrew just puts like his hands on his knees in front of the old woman, and he starts like twerking in front of her. Isaiah does it in front of the old man statue and starts. I go to the next level. The youth pastor of all people, who should be setting a better example, I prop my feet up onto the old man's shoulders, and my hands are down on the ground like I'm inverted. Right? I'm inverted, and I'm like bouncing around, and I'm looking up, and people are cracking up laughing as they're driving by. Yeah, man, that's probably one of the craziest things. You remember the time we did that in front of the Men at Work sign?
I remember that.
So there was a Men at Work sign one time. We literally pulled over and started like backing it up, like in front of the Men at Work sign. Yeah.
You know what I've learned, dude?
What's that?
There's nothing more dangerous than a group of guy friends who are ready to one up the next.
Facts. That is the truth, man. We would go to the extreme.
Like if you did something that was that bizarre and you were vertically up on somebody twerking, it was like, how can I one up this one? Yeah, dude, it was crazy. Things are not like what they used to be.
Yeah, man. So that was one. I mean, there's so many stories we could share over the past several years, man. The times when we used to go to the pool and mess around up here during practice, all the pranks we pulled, like. But yeah, man, all jokes aside though, I think one of the biggest things that I remember was like whenever it was like in a sense serious time, like ministry time, like we were all in, like we were like, let's get it done. You know, some of y'all don't know, but we used to have youth services on Saturday nights back in the day.
Talk about waking up on a Sunday from a Saturday.
Yep, we called it Saturday Night Live, and we'd have teenagers in here, and it was pretty cool. Like, we had those were interesting. That was a time, man, that I'll never forget. We always called it the SNL era, but that was a cool time, man. We'd be up here like noon, getting ready, rehearsals, setting up, and then we would have service at night. Like, yeah, it was cool. It was a lot of fun, man. We was young and getting it back in the day. And I say me too because like I was still like a young pastor at the time, so I was still like learning how to lead and everything like that still. So it was cool, man.
Yeah, those are fun times. I'll never forget those.
Yeah, man, most definitely. So with that being said, man, you know, we were talking about a little bit of history, you know, because a little bit of history. You know, I say that word history because one of the things that I've noticed with today's teenagers is this, and it sounds kind of funny, but it's the truth. I've noticed that today's teenagers don't have like a real strong sense of history.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that?
Yes.
Right? Like we have no strong, like I say we, but like teenagers. And the first example, so like I have a niece who's going to be a junior at Monterey.
Right.
And so I don't know if y'all have seen the new Top Gun movie, right? So Top Gun Maverick is an awesome movie if you haven't seen it yet, okay? If you haven't, you should. But before you see it, you should see the first one, okay? Now, we were talking about this on Sunday at dinner, and I was like, so did you like it? She was like, yeah, it was pretty good. I was like, pretty good? She was like, I mean, yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it. I was like, okay, let me ask you a question, because it dawned on me. I was like, have you seen the first Top Gun? And she was like, there's a first Top Gun, and my mouth like dropped. I was like, what?
I said, who did this?
I was like, you've never seen the first one? She was like, no. I was like, okay, your assignment today is to hop on Netflix and watch Top Gun. I was like, your generation for real has no sense of history. You know, and another story with her was, I'll never forget, like, she was wearing Air Force Ones. So here recently, Air Force Ones have become super popular with teenagers, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, these shoes are so dope. Like, they're so popular now. And I'm like, when were they not popular?
They were popular.
Like, they've been popular, right? Air Force Ones have been around forever. Okay, before y'all were born, Air Force Ones were around. The all-white Air Force Ones been around before you were born. And I want to hear your story about your first Air Force Ones here in a minute.
I'll tell you.
But she was wearing Air Force Ones one Sunday. And I walked up to her when I saw her. I said, oh, I see you riding the Air Force One wave. That's cool. She's like, yeah. And I was like, have you ever heard that song Air Force Ones by Nelly? And she was like, who's Nelly? And I was like, okay, time out. That's a violation. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and who's this again? This is your niece?
My niece.
You still call her your niece? I would question it now.
Question the mothers, right? So I told her, I said, listen, you're not allowed to wear Air Force Ones until you go hear that song.
You should have played it. You should have blasted it right then and there.
And so I sent her the music video.
Okay.
I sent her the music video via text. And it was funny, the next weekend I saw her again, and she wasn't wearing them. And I go, I tell you haven't heard the song yet. She's like, no. I was like, she's like, but I'm not wearing them. I was like, no sense of history for your generation, man. But
that's crazy.
No,
Air Forces have been around for so long, dude. So I remember back. So I'm 25 now.
Mm-hmm.
Back when I was going into freshman year, they were huge. They were a huge deal. So back then, you know, before you're too quick to judge, this was during your jerk days. All right.
I don't know if y'all know what jerking is.
Yeah, for those of you who
Those
don't
teenagers
know,
today, I don't know if you know what jerking
don't look it up. Don't waste your time. No, I'm
Huh?
just kidding. No, not beef jerky.
Not beef jerky.
Not
Actually,
beef jerky.
jerky, there was a dance style and a fashion
Yes.
trend for a while. It was
So the fashion trend, let me explain the fashion trend for those of you who don't know. It was either Jordans, Air Force Ones, with some skinnies.
like really skinny
Skinnies, like
jeans.
skinnies where you can't breathe sometimes.
Yeah.
Yes, like if he
Bright
ever
colors, too.
listens to this, like Tristan skinnies. Okay, so it would be those kind of skinnies with a really baggy T-shirt. Okay, so
bright colors too.
very bright
You
colors.
remember,
The place,
remember the glasses?
yes, the place to go, bro, was Route 21 if you
Yeah.
wanted one of those
Route
shirts.
21 was like the off-brand Tilly's.
Yes.
Like the great value brand of Tilly's. Well, y'all know what Route 21
Yeah,
is.
Route 21's good. They're not a sponsor, by the way, not yet.
Yeah, not yet.
So, anyways,
Look it up.
I wanted Air Forces. I had the skinnies, I had the shirt, I needed the Air Forces. All right. Well, my parents asked me. So I grew up very. We didn't have the most money, so I grew up with one pair of shoes for the whole year. That was my shoes for the first semester, the first half. After Christmas, maybe we would get another pair. Maybe. Majority of the time, no.
Yeah.
But I refused to show up to my freshman year with some Shaqs. All right.
From
So
Walmart.
I wanted the Nike Air Force Ones, and I asked my parents, and they said, "Well, how much are they?" I said, "They're $99.99." My parents looked at me like they were prepared to slap me, and they said, "No, you got us messed up." My dad said, "There's a lawnmower in the backyard. I'll pay for your first tank of gas, a little 5-gallon tank." So I was like, "All right." All summer long, bro, that whole summer, I walked the whole Arnold Benson cutting yards that year.
That's dope.
What I did with my money, no idea. But I knew I set aside $100 specifically for those shoes. And by the end of that year, bro, by the end of that summer, I sure did buy my first pair of high-top Nike Air Force Ones.
I remember he wore them suckers proud to church.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Did I stay on top of those shoes? Whenever anybody would like accidentally kick me, boy, you would get the devil eye and be like, you
Yup.
better get down, then you better clean
Clean
that
them
streak,
suckers,
and you
yup.
better back up, because I worked hard for these.
There's nothing like a sense of pride when you worked
Yes.
hard for something and you can buy it yourself.
Yes.
So your first pair. I know some of y'all thinking, Carrie buys a lot of sneakers, right?
Yes, he does.
Okay, so yeah, okay, calm down. Okay, so like, but it all started when I was a kid, just like Kez. I was like in the 3rd grade when I bought my first pair of Jordans.
Nice.
But just like you, man, my father had a lawn mowing business, and I played basketball, and so I told my dad I wanted some Jordans. Same concept. You know how much Jordans are? I mean, they're really expensive now, but back then, $100. You're talking about early '90s. Okay, dang, I'm aging myself here.
Yes, you are.
Late '80s, early '90s. Okay, Jordans were. You know, you think $100 in the early '90s, late '80s. That's like $200 today,
Yeah.
right? $250 today. It was a lot of money. And so my dad said, "Tell you what, come work with me in the summer." And so I worked that summer with my pops. And looking at it now, being an adult, I'm like, how much was I making minimum wage an hour?
Probably like $2.
If that, man, I was out there every day, Monday to Saturday. And at the end of the summer, I had enough money to buy my Jordan. So it's so cool, man. Because I walked into, this is when Cardinals was at the mall.
Oh, I remember.
So this was back in the day.
Oh,
Back in the
giving an
day,
age
man.
out.
And I walked in, super proud, and I was like, I want those. And it was a pair of Jordan Bordeaux 7s, okay? Bordeaux 7s. And the man we got my size, put them on, and good to go. Went to the counter, and he rang it up, and he said, all right, she's like, all right, sir. He looked at my dad, that's going to be 100 and da-da-da, right? And my dad looks at me, he said, like that. And I pulled out a wad of $1 bills. I pulled out a big old wad of $1 bills that I'd been saving. And I just handed it all because I didn't know. I just handed the whole thing to him. And the dude started counting, right? And one of the other employees came over and was like, did you save up for all this? I was like, yeah, I worked all summer to get him. And he was like, he was like, shut up, dude. And he was like, man, that's so cool. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Again, there's no like you, man, I was careful when I wore them. But that's where the sneakerhead started. 3rd grade carry.
And it has grown to a very unhealthy hobby. To where now his wife, he doesn't even buy his shoes no more. I always see him posting, his wife has bought him a brand new pair of kicks. And then I look at my wife and I said, where's my brand new pair? So she's gonna get in trouble now.
Next week's Father's Day, bro.
We'll see. If you see my Instagram story and you see a pair of new kicks, you've inspired her.
Josie, I'm sending this to you.
Yes. I need to get Alicia to hang out with her more often. They need to hang out way more often.
Yeah, my wife's the plug, man. Real talk, man. Before we, because we should probably wrap this up here shortly. But real talk, man. My wife, I say my wife's the plug, but man, it's cool because like the other day, those of you who don't know, my wife is in the military.
Yeah.
So she gives me that military discount hookup. It's nice, man. It's nice, man. It's pretty awesome, man. No, she's awesome, man. But with that being said, man, let me ask you something. You know, one of the things with today's teenagers that I see, right? I still see kids rocking the J's, but Crocs.
Oh.
Crocs is like.
It's a big thing.
It's a Croc or not? What do you think, man?
I'm against Crocs.
Bro, I legit feel like God looks down from heaven and is like, what the heck?
And then if
like,
you're
I
gonna
gave y'all creativity and wisdom, and this is what y'all created.
Yes. Well,
if you're a Croc wearer, I'm not hating, okay? Because my wife wears them, and every time she does, I'm like, oh, don't be putting those next to my J's. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I could see that.
Don't be doing that.
Yeah, I could see that.
And then now they got little things you can put on. What are they called?
Yes.
Y'all know what they're called? Gibbets, yeah.
There you go.
So
She's Crocs.
Yeah, you wear Crocs. She's like, no, that's right. Like, they got all these things you can put on to like spice them up, and I'm like, no matter what you do, they will never be spiced up like.
And dude, I'm sorry,
no.
but if you're wearing Crocs, I'm sorry, I'm not spending $40 on a pair of rubber.
Bro.
Like, that's crazy. But I can't complain too much because my little boy, he likes Crocs. He's got 2 pair of Crocs.
Okay.
He's real huge into cars right now. So he puts his Crocs on and he goes ka-chow. And he's gone. Okay? Well, I've got another nephew.
These things are 4-wheel drive.
I've got a nephew. So my son is 2 and he's got a nephew who's 4.
Right.
Well, we took him to the lake the other day, but you know, we weren't planning on going to the lake. It was just, you know, spontaneous, hey, let's go. Well, he had no clothes. So we took him to Walmart, go get him some trunks, and he looked at me and he goes, Theo, can I get Crocs? I almost slapped him. And I was like, you want me to spend money on Crocs, Angel? And he goes, well, Matthias has them. So I was like, shucks, I can't slap my son. I can slap my nephew, but not my son. So I was like, all right, so I busted down and I got him some Crocs. So, but man, he loves them. He absolutely loves them. So yeah, you'll never catch me sporting Crocs.
Nope, me neither, bro. And people tell me like they're so comfortable, and I'm like, nah, I'm cool, man. I can't do it. Like again, if you're a Croc wearer, more power to you.
You know what I feel like that's.
So I feel like if you can wear Crocs, you should be bold enough to carry your Bible to school.
Dang.
That right there was a violation.
Shots fired. Those are shots
So if you're a Croc wearer, you better be carrying your Bible to school next year. You heard?
He's been setting that one up all night long. He's been waiting to use that line.
No, I can't do it either, man. Like I can't. Like my wife was like, so Jordan made a pair of Crocs. I said, Jordan knows better.
Yes, he does.
The GOAT would never stoop to that level. You know what I'm saying? Like, he is not that desperate for sales.
Well,
like,
since we're talking about Crocs, my question to you is, I know you like slides.
Yeah, for sure.
Everybody likes slides.
Yeah,
Everybody has a pair. You wear slides with or without socks?
With.
Okay.
Yeah,
Good. We're
most
good.
definitely.
We can remain friends.
Yeah, most definitely.
We're good.
I'm rocking with
Okay.
socks, bro.
Okay.
Yeah, most definitely.
Slides should not be rocked without socks. Nobody wants to see
They're
it.
not chunkless.
Yes. No. Okay.
They're
All right.
not
We're good then.
chunkless.
We're good.
Yeah,
All
no,
right.
I rock them with, bro.
Okay.
Absolutely.
We can remain friends.
Yeah. And if you wear, like, I know Valedia's come up here rocking slides with socks, so she's cool.
Okay.
Yeah, you're good. You're good, Valedia.
You
You're
can
good.
keep coming.
She was like, I'm glad I wore socks the other day.
That's funny.
That has been fun, dude.
I
It's
like
cool, man. It's a lot of fun, man. So check it out. We're gonna be doing this for this first season once a month, and we're gonna try to do this at the very first of every month. So we'll be back in July with a brand new episode. So we hope you guys enjoyed this. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Breakfast Club New Life Youth Podcast, and we'll see you guys.
We look forward to seeing you next month.
Yeah, we'll see you all next month. All right.